my assumption has always been if we run into verified, I'll say corporeal, right, physical, non-human intelligence, if it's capable of abstraction, then it has an immortal soul via Thomas Aquinas, and we have to convert it. Tell me why you don't seem like you're totally jiving with that. Tell me why I'm wrong. I'm interested.
Well, just the argument that's made is that if you've got those kinds of capabilities, that your soul is like the human soul, which is immortal.
Right.
But the argument for that, as I understand it, is that because a soul is a simple substance and of that sort, and that it cannot dissolve into its constituent parts, which is what happens at death, that still leaves open the possibility of annihilation. Okay. That at death, God would simply withdraw the grace to even keep that soul in existence. So they're not necessarily immortal, I would say.
That's what Mark Twain writes about the fairies in Reflections on Joan of Arc. That's what happens to the fairies. Yeah.
Well, that would go along with what we talked about earlier, too, about this notion if there are such ultra-terrestrials, that they would not be in the image of God that way. Because, I'm convinced the image of God is not just rational intellect.
That's what I want to
and free will, but also immortality. Also immortality. And you have some would argue that even certain ways that our bodies exist image God. But I would say the most basic way is that that's included. And you can talk about Neanderthals at that point. If we are the only ones on Earth, from the Earth anyway, that have been made in the image of God, what about the Neanderthals
who made art and did a lot of things that lend themselves to abstract,
probably ritual, that kind of thing. That suggests to me that at least some limited way they had some kind of rational intellect and free will. They fought wars, so they probably would have been fallen. But if I'm understanding the church's teaching correct, we're different from them in that we have an immortal soul, and they did not. That they would have had a soul more like the animal one that ended when they died. And then that would also play into the whole notion of how things would have happened with evolution, where at some point God chose a couple and gave them the immortal soul.
Okay.
Even though they already had bodies that had been developed.
Whoa, hey, you made it to the end of the video. Way to go. Congratulations. Good for you. That's hard to do nowadays. If you have a second, could you please drop us a like, subscribe, and if you really enjoyed this episode, go check out our full Honest to God. This is just a clip. There's so much more to this.